Yeah. So I thought, since we are doing work on the art direction for the game we are making, and there are lots of characters, we should periodically spend time designing characters. Last time we actually drew a rocket dragon. This is one of the cards in the card battle game we're making. But there are other characters, and we've done some work on the art direction for the shape of these other characters. Talking about those not on the cards. The card battle game we're making uses these cards to represent large mountain-sized creatures and forces to go into battle. And that's great. Currently the name of the game is Shuffle Wars, but that's... every time I say it, I'm less enthused about that. I mean, it's silly enough to work, but it's almost, dismissive in how silly it is, and so maybe we'll have to talk about that another time. So, instead, there is the cards, and a quick sketch of the design of the cards might be something like this, where there's like the name of the card, like Rocket Dragon, and then the image of the Rocket Dragon. So last time we sketched something out that was, roughly like this. The dragon spitting fire, splash, boom, crash, boom. And literally strapped on its back was a big old rocket, something like that. Down here on the card, there's stats and blah, blah, blah. Okay. There's like 5 bar graphs for the stats, and that's it. So power, defense, speed, health, and luck. This is our battle card game. These are the cards. And this image of these characters is supposed to be dramatic, powerful, fantastic, over the top. These other characters, though, in the game, are counter to this idea of being dramatic, even, fantastic, but, shown in a realistic way, like they could actually be a rocket dragon, Among the other cards, there's 50 of them. Well, there are people in this fantasy world that you save. So it's a fantasy world, and there's like unicorns, and there's elves, and there's leprechauns, villagers, and such. Now, these are people that are relatively helpless. In need of help is what they are. There is some villain character, and we haven't really talked about what we're doing with those, but long story short, I'm really thinking the villains are going to be represented in silhouette. And there's a good reason for that. I guess I'll have to talk about that another time. But I don't. We'll talk about why I think that's a good idea later. But for right now, I think the villains are going to be in silhouette. Anyway, for the people, and I'm calling them people because there's going to be a community of whatever the creature is, and they are relatively helpless. They need your help, and you're going to help them. What happened? Well, the villain did a thing. The villain took some object from them, and yeah, we need to do prop design as well. There's some event that's coming up, and the people care about the object and the event, but the villain did a thing to the object, and so they need you. So these people are other characters. We'll have to do character design on villains, but I swear there's some complicated reasons why we're going to have to put that off for now. It's okay. Not a big deal. Silhouette, though, I think is a good direction to go with them. The people, however, we've been working on these shapes that are counter to this idea of dramatic and realistic and blah, blah, blah that we're using for the cards. Like these cards, if they are powerful forces like immovable object or unstoppable force or rocket dragon, we want this picture to reflect like the real and power and over-the-topness of it, you see. Drama. To counter that, the people are not. People are cartoonish, iconic, simple, non-threatening, soft. These are the words that I'm thinking of. And so if they're more like this, that works. It works lots better. So we have a general idea about what to do with our people characters. Now it's time to get specific because we played around a bit on what the shape should be and the rules we could use to develop the characters. Now it's time to actually design them. In stage one, I'll just sketch them out. You know, if this is like seriously like the bunnies in the forest or whatever, I'm not really sure. That's actually something we got to do right now. We'll make a first sketch of them. Then later on, we'll actually refine it. Probably after we've done a round of every one of the people characters, so that we make sure that the rules we have are all going to work, that we've refined the look of it. For example, before I was kind of doing this with the eyes, and I since have decided it's actually better to go way far apart. This is the standard kawaii sort of style. Anyway, my point is, later on, we'll come back and we'll refine this. We'll also have done some work on the line quality. Notice I'm just doing this kind of sketch. Okay. Well, we're actually going to do some line quality stuff so that it'll have some thickness to it. There'll be rules about the line quality, exactly like there are rules about the shape quality. And we'll get there. By then, we'll do a revision of it so that it'll start with a sketch. I mean, exactly like what we did with these characters. This is right now just one sketch of a rocket dragon. And we went through some iterations on that one, but I think the one for the people will go a little faster. I'll do a sketch of one type of people, and then I'll do a cleanup where I have the line quality figured out. Then we'll do a final with like color and some, if we have lighting, representative lighting. What I aim for is a character of this type. And if I need to have variations on it, it'll be minor. For example, I could have little bunnies. And if that's the case, I will literally just scale it down. So if it was this size, now it's this size, and here's the little bunny. You know what I'm saying? Like literally that. I will duplicate the image, flip it around, and make them bigger or smaller, and suddenly it looks like a population. So I don't have to draw these things more than once. And I can concentrate on one. It also doesn't matter about variation between these characters we're going to show as the people. They're literally just people. It's good enough that they're named and they have a picture. That's plenty. So that's what we're going to do. But like I mentioned, I need to actually know which people we're talking about, because right now they only have names. I don't know the names off the top of my head. So let's go find them. Or, to be more accurate, allow me to go find them. One moment. I wonder where I put these. Helps to be organized. I should search, I'm sure. That's right. I do have an art Bible as well. And it could be that... Oh, is this just in code? I think it is, actually. Right. Actually, that makes sense. I don't have a separate list. Why would I keep a separate list when it's in code? Okay, actually, that makes sense. All right, then. In that case, we will pop open the game. So I need the list of critters. We'll do a few. I think there's 32 in total. It's like bunnies, but I think it's more like a list that says, like, street urchins and villagers. Might be like the Western dwarves or something. There's some description about them that makes them unique enough. I will take all the definition that I've given them so far and make it work. Come on now. All right. This is going to be in a piece of code called story. Right. So now, okay. These are the objects, as I mentioned. The people care about the objects. These are the events. The people care about that particular festival or party or something that's going to happen. These are the people. Okay, snow fairies. That's one of them. The valley elves. That's another one, you see? Okay. So, these are the people I need to develop characters for. So, there is an image of a snow fairy, and I will duplicate them and make it look like people, right? Make it look like a number of them. All right. I think I did in our mock-up image of a bunch of critters a I did a fairy, so I will do that again. Snow fairies, right? Yeah. Let's go ahead and this out. Yeah. So again, we're developing the art direction and doing character design, particularly on effectively background characters is what we have. Sorry. Okay, so the snow fairies. If I remember correctly, the shape that we typically do was abandoned because they are so small. Right? Instead, we use the rounded square as inspiration for the biggest element in the snow fairy, which is the wings. So instead of showing like this and trying to make it look really small, like putting tiny little wings on it, no. Instead, do this. I think it was this kind of shape, like a butterfly, can be made from rounded squares, just like this. If it's got an extra bit, like this. And our motif, this rounded square, is literally like if this was an actual square, right? The rounded square not only is rounded, excuse me, but it's also like bent, right? So that none of the angles and none of the lengths of the sides are even or symmetrical. There we go. Like that. Like this would work. So definitely not square, definitely not just rounded square, but like everything is interesting, yes? Okay. And that way we can construct a wing kind of like this. Okay. And since that's the biggest part about the fairy, like we may actually need to do a back wing as well. Since that's the biggest part, now we do the rest in silhouette. In fact, we're going to kind of need to develop two styles of character. One is this with the big space for the face and wide eyes and then place for expression. And the other one is silhouette character. Like, we're going to need to do this for villains, I'm positive. Then also for fairies, you know, definitely for little creatures. And we have a few of the people who are definitely small enough that it would make sense. Okay, so dangling legs says they are flying and not just standing. I don't need both arms. I don't, especially since it's silhouette. If I just had one leg, that would look weird. I can get away with just one arm. Mainly, I don't want to get in the way of the silhouette of the wing. So I think that's kind of it. This is basically the mock-up I did earlier. And I'm happy with it, actually. It was one of the puzzles to figure out in terms of a shape that would work for all the characters. In this case, we're definitely using it for the wings. And this is fine. Now, let me do the silhouette properly. I say that and totally mess it up. Okay. And I don't think I need to do anything like hair or antenna or anything like that. So I think this is it. Now, what makes them snow? Those are fairies, but what about snow? How do I do snow? Well, before we also mentioned like putting little sparklies around them. Perhaps these sparklies indicate something like snowflakes. Yes. Because we can do little circles and dots, but if we also did like snowflakes, that would definitely sell a little bit easier, right? The thing about these sparklies is they help indicate like motion, like she's trailing sparklies behind her kind of a thing. Okay. I need this to be readable more than anything else. Like it's just a still image. So especially if I want to do like, yeah, email form, I kind of need to omit hair, I think. Maybe I'll just do that. Yeah. All we need to do is represent people. So if I have, in fact, these would be two separate layers. This would have to be character layer plus visual effects layer, because actually for this character the visual effects are necessary. Could be all characters have some visual effects, but in this case this is kind of necessary. Snow fairies, I'm down. That works. That works. I mean, the other option for snow is that we do something in the wing. Like butterflies have a pattern in the wing, and instead we actually show something like a snowflake in the wing, but I'm not down with that, frankly. The idea of the squares, it's a space to show a face, and I definitely don't want to confuse the issue and put something else in these squares. If we did, you know, snowflake pattern, I mean, yeah, I'm already like saying no way. No way. So this is working. This will work. Okay. All right. Who's next? And so, like I said, step one is quick sketch. Later, we'll come back and clean up. So this is just inspiration for when we get our line style. We'll be able to clean this up and make a better drawing of that, knowing that this is going to need a character layer and a visual effects layer is pretty much all we need. So we move on. Who else? The Valley Elves. Well, I know we did elves in our mock-up. Again, we got the rounded square. In this case, elves are going to have thinner, I guess the thickest part's going to be at the top. You do that. I know we did like a tiny little nose, and then the ear was the prominent bit. I think we did something like hair on this elf in our mock-up, and I wasn't opposed to that. I think hair done simply is fine. I mean, technically it could also be a rounded square. So I'm really concerned about these rules because, you know, A, it's going to help us stay consistent. B, it's going to visually look consistent, which is good for our audience. Okay, so if I say elf, and I don't know about the ear is definitely going to be the, oh right, rounded square. Right. Okay, so we'll have to do that. Space for the face, that's fine. And then the rest of the body was absolutely like... Because the head is the biggest part of these characters. I don't mind that it has a bit of a chest. The Valley Elves, okay. So I think a bow is appropriate. If it is an elf, I will curve the bow. Sure. Now, if I start doing accessories on these elves, or sorry, on these people, and then I duplicate them, so this would be like all the elves have bows, which might not look right. I'm not sure. Could just be they are people. Maybe the elf doesn't need a bow. Also, notice how I just gave him really long limbs. I don't want that. So like what we did before with our dragon character and these other characters, we're sketching these over and over again to find the right combination of things. Nailing down one piece, then another piece until we finally get it all. I think in this case, yeah, I think even smaller is the key here. Like it may not be thick arms at all, but short, definitely. Yeah. Absolutely. The Valley Elves, yes? And I suppose they could have long hair. Why not? So one of the rules of our character shape was this head is the dominant shape. It's the biggest shape. I'm down with that. Okay. I think this will work. I'm going to put the chest puffing out just a little bit. Yeah, I think these limbs have to be absolutely tiny. On all the characters, I think that's true. I'm not opposed to the hair. The hair's going to be fine. We could do that. So I think this is better. So let's try to do the character full here. Okay. Looking back at all the decisions we just made. Oops. So that we can have space for a smile or a frown, depending on whether the characters are currently happy or sad, because that's literally the only thing these characters do. The people are sad because blah, 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 blah. And then you win the battle, and the people are happy, and that's literally all they do. They don't move, they don't talk. Like, I'm going to have... I want voice for these characters to actually help with the illusion that these are real people you are helping, and aren't you such a hero for doing that? That said, it's not going to be with words. I literally need them to not say anything, because I'm also planning on having voice read the story. And in that way it would be wrong. If I remember correctly, I also had a rule about these limbs that was, one is definitely bigger than the other. Maybe that's a little too extreme. You know, I don't even want the elbow to bend. It's so specific, but I'm trying to nail down rules of characters at the same time that I'm sketching. Okay, so if I go really thin on the back, yeah. Oops. Okay, I'm fighting the technology at this point. You should see the tablet I'm working with, which is, I don't have the right equipment. I really don't, but I'm making do. Okay, so I think this works. Could I go more flippy on this? Kind of, yeah. Let's see if I can make that work. What? Okay. Oh. What? So that this is like, yeah, it's supposed to be rounded though. Well, anyway, I think this is good. This is the Valley Elves. And what's making them Valley? I'm going to say the hair. The color is probably going to help as well. Right. Again, good initial sketch. We have a design. And we move on. What's next? Pink unicorns. Yes, definitely. Of course. Of course we have pink unicorns. We did specific work on this as well because this was a special exception to the rule. This has like two... Here. This has like two rounded square shapes in one. Okay. And then we sort of erase this. So, all right. One of the big features of this character is the big nostril, and I'm still wondering if I need two. Do we have enough space to do happy or sad? I think so. Sad looks okay. Not great, but it'll work. Hold on. This was all one shape, wasn't it? If I remember correctly, we did it that way. I'm going to just sketch this one really ugly, and we'll clean it up in a moment. Okay. Yeah, I might need to bend the rule about the rounded squares on occasion if what needs to happen is a concave edge like that. Because there are definitely going to be times when that's going to be desirable. I need a point or something like that. In this case, the tail, the hair, yeah, it's probably cases where that's going to be useful. Man, it's difficult to work with this tiny little tablet. Really difficult. Okay, but I'm going to struggle. Okay. Yeah, hair, I'm not sure I need much more than a single ear. Hair, though, yeah, definitely. And pretty much like the elf hair. Okay, I'm down at the tiny legs. As goofy as that is for a horse, I'm down with keeping the style consistent. Okay, this is all wrong. This is all wrong. But now I think I know the formula here. So this is... Oh, this is so hard with this tiny tablet. I tell you, I'd rather do this on paper. I'd rather do this on paper. But I'm down to like explore the style here and then do it on paper for real. Alright, so this is... Bottom has the big piece, the back has that. Yeah, see again, I need a concave shape. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, even the back leg is a form of a rounded square, and there again, I need the concave shape. This should be a thick ear, should it not? Yes, it should. Excuse me. If it is a fat ear, excuse me. Excuse me. If it is a fat ear, then things like the horn can be different, and I think that's necessary. And most shapes won't have detail in them, but I think hair and unicorn twist, I think, deserve the extra detail. Oops. Okay. So let's try and draw this for real. Again, the head has to be the biggest part, right? I think so, actually. Does that work? I mean, kinda. Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, okay, okay. Um, and you'll excuse me if I don't talk while I concentrate on the drawing for a moment. almost like I keep doing the hair like triangles, and maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's a rule I should do. Okay, I'm not exactly happy with this shape yet. Close. There you go. Cool. I'm actually down with that. That's kind of cool. And these are called the pink unicorns. I imagine they are going to be pink. Again, our game does not take itself too seriously. Cool. And again, because we're doing a quick sketch now, and after we devise the line style, we'll come back and do a cleanup. I'm going to leave it right here. Cool. Awesome. What is next? Eagle folk with a hyphen. Okay. Now, let's call it out. I have silly names of cards, silly names of places and events and objects and people because it's the names that were silly. Like literally, I picked silly things. So do I know what eagle folk means? No. Is it people with bird beaks and like, I don't know. I have no idea. Feathers? I have no idea, right? Are they actually just eagles? Right? And they're just, sentient people that are eagles, right? I don't know. Should they be flying? Boy, I don't know. Should they be flying in the sky and represented in silhouette? That's a good question. By the way, there are hawks and there are eagles. These are birds of prey, and you can identify them in silhouette because they have like fingers at the ends of their wings. Well, what am I doing then? Are these humanoids with silly beaks on them, and we call them eagle folk? Or are these eagles? Where are we on this? I think if we were doing a proper eagle, we'd be talking about like a body that looks like this, very large wingspan. We'd be talking like that. And I'm not sure that's what we want in this game. I also just, I can't see myself going all the way to the silliness of eagle folk with a big old beak. Okay, let's try it. Let's see. This may be one of those puzzles we don't solve right now, but let's just go goofy for 1 minute. So, well, they can be sad and they can be happy. This is terrible. Okay, Okay, there's our... Hold on. I need a little bit more fidelity than what I'm getting out of this tablet. I swear, this is really, really hard. You should see it. It's the size of the postage stamp, and it's away from the display. So I'm literally looking somewhere and drawing somewhere else, which is just not how I work. Aside from the fact that the size of this image is larger than the size of the pad that I'm drawing with. So it's whatever. It's eagle folk. Okay, if I go very cutesy, I can get away with quite a bit. So let's try it. Okay. And then what, right? Well, I guess we could have a couple of feathers. I mean, yes, we could have a little wing here. They could be standing. I mean, this is by far the goofiest thing I've drawn yet. But it could be this. Would I do eagle folk as humanoids? I don't think so. I think that's just too silly. I don't think that's pleasant, and I don't think it makes me want to help them much if we do this. I'm not down with that. This is silly. I don't know how to make this look like an eagle, though, compared to like a little bird, right? I mean, the beak can definitely say eagle. I guess. But like, if it's just the head, I don't know that that's enough to convey eagle. I'm not sure. You know, the shape of this rounded square, though, is actually really close to what an eagle's head actually needs to be, because the beak is so huge. It actually needs this rounded square shape anyway. So it almost works. I'll tell you, the biggest thing working for us is the name itself. The name will be part of the presentation. So the player will see the name Eagle Folk, and it will be read to them as Eagle Folk. Even though we're doing this. Okay, so I don't know about... I'm not sure this is it. I would like to say I know what the design is on the Eagle Folk, but I'm starting to wonder if this is too goofy. Another benefit to doing a pass on this as a quick sketch and then later coming back later and doing a cleanup, another advantage is we will have done other characters and we will have decided what's too silly and what's okay, you know? Okay. At the moment, we need to do this. Maybe not two. I really need to be precise with this because I'm starting to care about the details, and this tablet and this line style is not doing it justice yet, so I'm having to slow down. Okay, I like the wide, squared off beak, of course. That works with our style. As does the squared off shape work for the wing. I'm down with that. And legs. And I'm going to put the legs back here because, yes. And maybe we just don't need anything else. Maybe the extra feathers just are a distraction. Okay. For an initial sketch, this is fine. As long as it's clear what lines are there and necessary, I think I'm good. Excuse me. Eagle folk. Okay. So we've done a few characters. If we have 32 and we did 4 of them, we've only got 9 more of these sessions to go. But I think the basic shape turned into a character that we can reuse, flip around, make bigger or smaller should help. And these are very different. The fairies need the silhouette. The valley elves needed a body. The unicorn, of course, is a involved shape that is specific, like a horse. And then eagle folk, I have no idea. I think I picked these, again, just like our pearl effects. I picked the really difficult ones first so I could figure out the rules. I think I did that on purpose. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So we did some character designs today, and our goal was to lay down quick sketches so that on our second pass we have something to work from, and we can go from there. Our game has characters on the battle cards, and our game has people that the players save because they need saving, and we are their hero. The player is their hero. So character designs are going to help us. The style can't take itself too seriously on these people characters, as opposed to the other style of characters, which are the cards, and those are supposed to be over the top, so dramatic, even if they aren't realistic. Yes? I think we did it. And what I will do is end the stream here, because yes. And we'll come back and do more character design next time. I think we'll do more cards next time. I might need to do 2 at a time. I'll do 2 card creature designs. And then we'll come back and do more people character designs as well. Eventually, I need to figure out the villains, and maybe I'll do that next. I don't know. Stay tuned. Talk to you soon. Have fun. Take care. Do good. Be well. Bye-bye.